through to make sure that we know how to do the homework tomorrow. Okay, we got a short assignment tomorrow, which today we're going to basically just talk about, make sure that you know how to do it, kind of the ease of it. It's actually pretty straightforward. The one thing I need to make sure of is, do we know how truth tables work? So it's based on conjunctions, disjunctions. Stuff I think the intro is Friday, but since we had math testing on Monday and Tuesday, we haven't seen it for a while. So we'll go back into it. It's pretty straightforward. So I want to make sure that you guys get to see these. We'll do just a few examples today. That's it. Just to make sure that you kind of know what you're doing. So let me start right now. Okay. All right. Again, this stuff is really, really easy. It really is. Just because of the truth tables and how like it's true or false kind of a thing. A lot of it just asks if it's true or false. So that's, I mean, you have a 50-50 chance, right? But the truth table takes a little bit. So that's our kind of our goal today. So again, we're talking about logic problems, which is deductive and inductive reasoning. The one thing we introed on Friday last week, if you remember, we talked about conditional statements, right? Those if-then statements. If this, then this, that type of thing, right? They had two parts. They had a hypothesis and a conclusion. The hypothesis is the part that follows the word if, whatever they state, and then the conclusion's after the word then. Now, the other word that I used yesterday was the word conjecture. Conjecture is coming up with like a conclusion that's true, but you put it together using inductive reasoning. You know, like the best way I can put it is like conjectures are like when we did those, when we did the sequences. You guys had to figure out the next couple numbers. Right? Some people are good at it, some people aren't. I understand that. But conjectures are like you figured it out and you came up with a logical conclusion. Because some people like have different approaches to it, but you at least know what the correct answer is. So you had an answer that was a conclusion, that type of thing. But today, instead of just doing if-then statements, what we're really focusing on is conjunctions and disjunctions. It's a type of conditional statement. It's a type of statement that's based on logic. True or false. Okay? So my goal today is to really talk about these two words and to really like separate them. What's a conjunction? What's a disjunction? How would we look at the problems based on that? Okay? So we'll get to these here in a minute. Those will be on the next few slides. Now, the other things we did discuss on Friday, if you don't remember, we talked about counterexamples to problems. So if I give you an if-then statement, I think the example we used last Friday was something like, if I'm listening to music, then I'm using an iPod. And the counterexample is that the hypothesis had to be true. I had to be listening to music. But the conclusion was I was using an iPod was false because you guys came up with a bunch of examples. Like they use computers, radio. It could be a live performance. It could be a cell phone. I don't know if I said that one already. But it's just, you have a bunch of examples that you're still listening to music, but it's on a different medium. That type of thing. So those are counterexamples. Now, the other thing is that today we're not coming up with counterexamples for this. What we're really coming up with today is the logic statements, like, is this statement true or false? And the problem is, we can't just go into that right away because what we need to worry about is this idea of negation. Negating a statement, putting the word not in front of it. That's different than a converse. I always put these two together to like signify the difference here. Converse, a lot of people they read that word wrong. A converse is where you switch the sentence around. Okay, so what I mean by that is the conditional statement I said earlier was, if I'm listening to music, then I'm using an iPod. A converse is, if I'm using an iPod, then I'm listening to music. You flip the two parts around. A negation is using the word not. If I'm not listening to music, then I'm using an iPod. That type of thing. So that's a negation. You just put the word not in front of one of the statements. You can put it in front of both, but typically we only put it in front of one. So that's a negation. We're going to look at this today. That's one of the main words we talked about Friday, and I'm going to show you the notation for that today. Okay? And then obviously the word we haven't discussed yet is this idea of biconditional. That will come up later. That's actually something we might discuss. Maybe Friday we'll discuss that word because I know tomorrow's assignment that I kind of picked problems for won't have anything to do with this. Okay. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. Okay. So again, the goal today is to talk about converse or sorry, not encumbrance, conjunction, disjunction, and this idea of negation, because that's all I'm going to test, or all I'm going to have enough notes tomorrow. Okay. All right. So let's start with the conjunction idea. Okay. All right. So these are the different things that I want us to know about conjunctions right here. I'm not even going to like go through PowerPoint. The notation for conjunction is that little up arrow. It's sometimes it's kind of small like that, where it's italicized. Sometimes it's really tall, where it looks like just like an upside down V. Okay? And the example is like this. This is a conjunction. P, this little up arrow, R. Now, how you read that, like how you say it to yourself in your head, is it's P and R. That's what the little and symbol means. Okay? Make sense? That's the and symbol. Now, for this to work, for what a conjunction is, conjunctions mean that you have to include both. Both have to be either true. Okay, that's the idea. If one of them is false, then they're both false. That's the idea. So it's one and the other. You have to include both. So we'll get to an example where I use this here in a second. But so that's the idea of the word and. Now we can put the little symbol for negation on there. Negation symbol, if you don't know, is that little tilde symbol. So that means not P and R. Okay, so not P and R. So this one would be false, that type of thing, or it would be the complete negation of that. So whatever the statement is, you put the word not in front of it, that type of thing. We'll get to an example here in a second, but both have to be included. That's the idea. So what I talked about, I think the example I used Friday was like, if the lunch menu said pizza and spaghetti, both have to be on the plate. Because it said the word and, so you have to have both. That type of thing. Okay, that's different than a disjunction. Disjunction is that little down arrow, kind of looks like a capital V, basically. But as you can tell, it's way taller. It's like skinny, it's kind of tall. It's different than the other one, I don't know why, on the computer. But P or R, that's how you say it out loud. This is the word or when you put like a big V in there. They're pretty straightforward in like that V itself. Sometimes it's really tall and skinny, sometimes it's short, but it's definitely not, you will not mistake it for like the letter V. You won't for those types of problems, especially when they label it like conjunctions, disjunctions. But what a disjunction actually means is that you include one or the other. One or the other. So I think the example I used Friday was like on, it was on a calendar. I think I used the example like February has 29 days or 28 days. You know, for like total number, that type of thing. Because like leap year versus non-leap year days. So it's one or the other. So as long as one of them is true, it's a true statement. So what we're going to look at today is logic statements. So it's like setting up a table, a truth table, to see there's different outcomes that could happen here. Maybe it's true or false, that type of thing. But I'm going to be using these symbols, and I'll be putting negations on them, and so we can get a sense for how this works, what you're going to be asked to do, that type of thing. Okay, does that make sense? Like what we're doing here today? Okay. All right. So this is our first one. We're going to set up a truth table for this, and then we'll go back and we'll look at like one of the statements and see if it's true or false, that type of thing. Okay, so here's my three statements. I have a P, a Q, and an R statement. They're all like, they're not even related. They're just kind of random statements that I came up with. And what I want to do is I want to set up a truth table for this statement, and then we'll come up with, is it true or false, that type of thing, in the very end. Okay? And I'll explain that in a second. So the first thing I want to talk about is, let's look at using a conjunction. So what's the symbol for conjunction again? What's that symbol I used? Up arrow? Okay. So we're going to do this. So somebody pick two of these. Pick two of them. Any two.
Q and R.
Q and R? Okay, so we're going to pick these two. Okay. Is that what you said? Okay. All right. So Q and R. So Q and R. Okay, we're going to set up a truth table for Q and R, and then we'll go back and we'll figure out which one's the correct answer. That's the type of thing, right? All right. So for Q and R, this is the type of thing we're using a conjunction, so the word and, so they both have to work. But a truth table, I don't even need to look at the statements for right now. I can set up a truth table without even having to read these sentences yet, which is weird. Some people are like, really? You can set up a truth table without having to look at the original problem? Yes, because one of them will be the correct answer in this truth table. That's the idea. So I'm just looking at this right here. Okay, so here's how a truth table works. Okay, there's going to be 3 columns. Now, how this works for the columns. Now, if there's negations on any of these, like a little squiggly, I'll show you that here in a minute. We'll do that over here. Okay, so I'm going to put Q in one column, R in another column, and in the last column, I'm doing Q and R. That's how a truth table is set up. Now, if there's negations, I'll have more columns on this thing. Columns are the ones going up and down. Okay? Does the first thing make sense? Like how you set up a truth table? This first one. Okay, now what we're doing here is we're going to go back to this original sentence and see if they could be true or false, like whatever the sentences were, and then we'll come up with which one's the right answer. But again, I'm not looking at any of these right now. I'm just setting this up. So how this works is going to be a little goofy. There's 2 possibilities that could work here. It could be this. Okay? Be true, true, or false, false. And I'll explain how this works. In fact, there's only 2 of them because we don't have negations. So it's true or false. That type of thing. Let's see. Actually, no. We can have both. And you're right. We can have all 4. All right. So here's how it works. Now for R, R could be true. It could be false. Now, do you see how we have both combinations of letters there? We have a true-false or a true-true, that type of thing. Then down here, same thing. It could be false-true or false-false. Those are every combination of true-falses that could potentially happen here. Does that make sense? Like where Q could be true and R could be false or vice versa. Okay? Now, for the conjunction, this is the hard part. This part was easy. Setting up trues and falses, just every combination you can do. How I do this, the first column I always start with doing true, true, false, false. That's just how I always do it. Then the other ones I do every other. Okay, now for the word and, for the conjunction, both have to be true for me to put a T here. If one of them is false, it's automatically false. Okay? So on the first row here, because I'm going rows, is there any falses in that statement? Going across? No. So this would be a true statement, the word and. Both are true, so that means the conclusion is in the very end, the and, the conjunction of and, is also true. Okay, going this way. Is there any falses? Yes, so it's automatically false for the truth table. If one of them is false, they're both false. Then, same down here. If one of them is false, it's automatically false, and if they're both false, it's automatically false. 2 falses don't make a true. So, okay, so how this works, you're probably wondering, okay, well, what's going on there? Like, I don't understand, like, why is the word and? It's the idea going back to the lunch menu. Both have to be on the plate at the same time, because they use the word and. If one of them is not on the plate, they lied to you. It's a false statement. They both had to be there. That's why they both had to be true. If one of them was missing off the plate, it's automatically false. They lied. Does that make sense? Okay, so now that we have this truth table, this is the complete truth table for this particular problem, the one that you picked, the Q and R problem. Now we're going to go back and we're going to look at the sentences, because some of the problems will have the sentences above. So that's nice. You can go back and you can check which one of these is actually the correct answer. Okay? Sometimes they don't. They just give you this, and you just have to set the table without having to go back. Okay, so we have the truth table set up, and now what we're going to do is we're going to see which one is the correct one. So, okay, so let's read this first sentence. This first sentence right here. Does September have 30 days? So, if you're using your knuckle idea, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So September does have 30 if you're using your little knuckle. Okay, if you don't know the knuckle thing, was everyone here Friday when I talked about the knuckle idea? Anyone was not here Friday when I talked about how to do knuckles figuring out the months. Okay. So September definitely has 30 days, correct? So it's got to be true. Is that correct? Okay. All right. Now, here's the idea. So I can already tell you right now, since Q is true, it's got to be one of these two. Does that make sense? It's got to be one of those two. Those are the only ones that have Q's have T's on them. Okay. Now, for the next one, R. A plane, not an airplane, but a plane, geometrical plane, is defined by 3 non-linear points. Is that a true or false statement? True or false? True. It's true. That's how you define a plane, right? A flat surface. You pick 3 points that are not in a straight line. That makes a unique flat surface. So that's a true statement. So that means this is our statement. So the final answer is true. That when you include both in conjunction, this is my answer. It's actually a true statement. Q and R. Okay. Do we understand this idea of the truth table now? Okay, we're going to do more of these. We're going to do another one complete. Okay, now what I want to do also is let's do the same thing, but let's do negation now. So you guys get to pick 2 of the letters. Doesn't matter which ones again. But we're going to do negation. I'm going to put like a little squiggly in front of one of them. Okay? So let's go back to the original statement. Did everyone have that written down? Okay, let's do another one. Okay, one more so we get some more practice here. Because I got a couple of these that I picked out. All right, so pick any 2 letters again. I don't even care which ones you pick.
PR.
Say it again?
PR.
PR. Okay, so we're going to pick P and R. P and R. And we're going to do the conjunction again. Let's do the one with the and. Okay? So P and R. Now, instead of just doing P and R, let's have one of them a negation. Let's have one of them where we put the word not in front of it. Okay? So which one would you like to put? P with the negation symbol in front of it? Okay. So P has a little negation. So what that means is for this first statement, okay, when we get to this negation, we'll have to make its own column, and this statement literally means this: 1 foot is not 14 inches. That's what this means. Okay, does that make sense? Like when we get to this part, when we have the negation part. Okay. So here we go. We're going to set up the truth table on this. How the truth table works. Now, we're going to have 4 columns. And you're probably wondering why we have 4 columns, because this is how it works. We have a P, we have an R, we have a not P, because that was the negation you guys picked. You picked the P to have the negation in front of it. And then the final one is not P and R. And you're probably wondering, why are we doing that? We have to. We have to set up that 3rd column with the negation in there, because the negation will be different than the original. Okay? All right, so combinations that can happen here, just like we did before. This could be true, true, false, false. The R's could be true, false, true, false. Okay, does that make sense so far? It's the same setup like we did earlier. We have true, true, false, false, and then every combination of R could be true, R could be false, R could be true, R could be false. So it's every combination of P's and F's here for the first 2. Now, for negations, and this is the part that when I first learned this when I was in high school, is the hardest thing to like wrap your head around until it just like clicks. You just understand how negations work. And I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. How negations work. This negation, whatever letter I'm going to put right here, 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 and here, right? They have to be the opposite of this one. They have to be the opposite of whatever the original letter was that you're negating. So, what will this letter have to be if it has to be the opposite of that? False. Okay, does that make sense? Okay? Then, same thing, it has to be the opposite, false, the opposite, and the opposite. Okay, does that make sense now? It has to be the opposite of the original. For some people, they can't wrap their head around that. That has to be the opposite of this one. whatever letter was here. Okay. Okay, so that hopefully that makes sense now. Some people really struggle with wrapping their head around that. Okay, now when we get to the end, now we're doing the conjunction, right? We're doing these answers, and we're only using basically these columns right here, these two, because we're doing the negation of P and R. So we're just using these two, not the original column. The original column was just to help us with these letters. Okay, so again, how this works. If there's any falses in this sentence, this will automatically be false. So do we have a false? Yes, so this is false. Do we have a false? Yes, they're both false. Trues mean true, and true false is a false. Remember, if there's any falses in that statement, it's automatically a false. They both have to be on the plate for it to work. That's the idea. I always think back to that common sense thing. Okay, so now that we have the truth table set up, and again, we're kind of ignoring this original column. Now that we have this truth table. Now we're going back to the sentence, and we're trying to figure out which one is true. So we're trying to look at this. Okay, so we're looking at this original sentence. So we're doing P and R. So we're doing not P. So 1 foot is not 14 inches. Is that true or false? That's true. Okay, so the not P idea, since we're doing that, we're doing the negation of this. So that would be probably this one. So it looks like it's probably this column. Automatically, it's probably going to be that one. That's the only one where not P is true. That one. It's probably that third one, because I can already tell you, because we already did the R statement earlier. Is R true or false? Yeah, R is true. We already did that one earlier. That's why I said it was automatically going to be that one. So we already did this one, so that was a true statement. And since they're both true and true, it's got to be this one. So your final conjunction is a true statement. True. Okay, are we starting to wrap our head around these truth tables idea? I know the negation's a weird one, because we had to make that extra third column. If both of them are negated, like not P and not R, then you have to have a fourth column. So you have to have the original P, the original R, the not P, the not R, and then whatever this statement is over here. Okay. So we've done conjunctions. We've done ones with negations. We've done original ones. We've done the truth tables for them. Now let's go and let's do some disjunctions now. Disjunctions. But I want to give us a new statement because we kind of exhausted this one. We've done this one plenty of times. All right. So let's do another example here. Okay. So another truth table. So we have a P, a Q, and an R for their new sentences now. I just picked some random sentences. All right, and now we're gonna pick a new statement, but we're gonna use the word or now. So we're doing a disjunction, and you can pick any negation you want, anything you want. So, fire away. What do we want to do? P and R. Okay, so P or R. Do we want any of them to be negated? No. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do P or R. So P or R. That's how it's right. P or R. So one of them has to be true for this statement because it's the word or. You know, if I use the same lunch idea, they're gonna serve milk or juice. So it's milk or juice. One or the other have to be offered to you. One or the other. If they only offer milk, it's fine. It's still true. Maybe they ran out of juice. It's not a false statement. Okay? So it's or. Now, doing the truth table is the exact same idea. Just the only problem will be the final answer. They're different when they're disjunctions, right? Because only one has to be true, not both, like the conjunction. So this is disjunction here. So we only have three columns, right? We have the P column, the R column, and then the P or R column. We don't have any negations, so we don't have to add in the extra column. Okay, so again, for these, without even reading the sentences, for P, it could be true, true, false, false. For the R's, they could be true, false, because it has to be every combination of letters. Okay, now, for the P or R, this column, if there's one true, just one, you're fine. It's a true statement. So, top, is there at least one T? Yes, so it's true. What about the next one? Is there one T? That's true. If there's one T, is there one T? No, that's a false statement. Do you notice that disjunctions have way more truth to them? Hey, Jack.
Hey, you want to finish that?
Yeah, I would be free. I thought you weren't coming in.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing anything. Do I need a ruler?
Yeah, you might need to. Alright, let's ignore this word, but fix those last three.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so, make sense? How the disjunctions work? It has to have one truth to it for it to be a true statement. Okay, now if we negate it, same idea. If we negate one of them, we can set up the new truth table to it. So, do you guys want to negate one, or do you want kind of a more challenging question? Because these seem pretty easy so far. More challenging one. All right, so now we're going to get one from the book. I'm going to grab one just directly out of the book. We can use these sentences still. And by the way, we can go back and we can check if it's true or false. It doesn't really matter. It looks like it's more or less, out of the 75% chance it's going to be true. Because look at it, there's three truths out of four. So it's probably more or less a true statement. All right, but let's do a tough one. Let's do one where we can use these sentences, but we do kind of a more challenging question. All right, so I want to do. Okay. Yep. This is tough. Okay, let me explain what you're looking at here. This is a truth table. It's just trying to figure out a true or false statement. But how this works is that first thing we need to do is we need to figure out this answer. Where they're doing Q or R. Q or R. And then, once we have this column established, now we need to make a new column with whatever that answer is. Okay? Because now you're doing R and whatever these are. So this is a conjunction in the very end. It was a disjunction up here, but then it's a conjunction in the very end, and we're using this column to figure it out with the R's. This is tough. Now they're mixing everything together. So this type of problem will have probably 1, 2, 3. It'll have 4 columns for sure. 4 columns for sure. Okay. This will be its own column. This will be its own column. The conjunction of R and whatever this thing is. And then R and Q will have its own. That type of thing. Okay, so, and it'd be even worse if I put negations in here, because you'd have extra columns for every negation. Okay, so let's do a truth table here. So we have 4. There's going to be at least 4 here. We have a Q, we have an R, and then we have the Q or R column. And the last column here is R and this thing, which is the Q or R. And how we're going to do that is we're going to use this column and the R column to make these answers for the conjunction. That's how it's going to work. Okay, so how this works, let's go through the answers here. For Q's, pretty straightforward. It's true, true, false, false, just like we did earlier. What's this column going to be? Yeah, true, false, because it's got to be every combination of letters that you can possibly think of. Now, for the next one, we're doing these by themselves, the Q or R. So how does disjunctions work? How does it work for true or false? When it's a disjunction using the word or. What was the little rule I told you earlier? Yeah, if it's one truth, it's a true statement. One truth. So on these, if one of these are true, then this statement, the word or, Q or R, this is automatically true. So if there's one T, there's two of them, so that's true. If there's one T, it's true. If there's one T, it's true. If there's one T, no, that one's false. Okay, so there's that one. For the last one, the last row, we're doing R and this one. So we're using these two columns. R and this. Now, this is a conjunction here. So the rules for conjunction, both have to be true. Both have to be true for this last column, for this to work. That's what conjunctions are. So we're looking at these two columns. Are they both true? Yes, so that's a true statement. Are they both true? No. Are they both true? Yes. Are they both true? No. So it looks like it's kind of a 50-50 chance. 50-50 chance. And then we can go back and we can kind of figure out which one it's going to be. It's kind of, probably more or less going to be a true statement. But we'll have to kind of check which one it's going to be. Okay, any questions, comments, concerns on how that works? Questions? For which? Say it again?
What if the sentence was there? What would you do?
You wouldn't have to go back and check which one's true or false. You wouldn't, like, on these, like, since I have the statements up here, you go back and you kind of read them, you put trues, falses next to them, and then you go to the chart and you see which one is going to be, right? But if there's no sentences, they just give you this thing, right? Then you just set up a table like I did. Okay, that's all you do. Questions, comments, concerns? Did that seem easy? Okay. You're going to have a couple of those tomorrow. There's only a few that they ask you to do truth tables. Some of them just ask you, is the statement true or false? You don't even have to do a truth table. You just have to think about, okay, is it and or? So only the ones that say truth tables, you'll have to do that. There's only a select few. Select few. Because again, reminder, I'm not here tomorrow. I'm gone at the AEA, so that's why you'll have a sub here that'll kind of help out. The problem is most subs that come in, they don't know any type of math. So if you get caught on a problem, put a star next to it. We'll talk about it on Friday. Does that make sense? That way you're not like freaking out. I'll be back Friday. We'll talk about the ones we're having problems on. And I'll give you some more time where you can ask me questions and stuff. Okay? All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, good. We're done. Brown, you want to put lights in, please? Matt says anytime during your study.
Please come to the office. Also, if there are any juniors
And all you do is go to
that
talk to
still
Mrs.
want to
Hagen,
sign up for the
number.
Buena Vista University rep, please do so at this time in the office. Thank you.
I don't know, man. So no speeches today? What? No speeches today? No speeches. Did you return that thing we did yesterday? No. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. Just say everything. The only thing we did today was we did those posters. Yeah. We should probably get because I thought we should.
But I got a really big class, so I don't know about your class.
Yeah, we didn't even get to the 5 sentences or anything. We just went through that post work prep.
Yep.
so we're not presenting today?
She said that we're not.
So I'll make sure.
We can't say yes or no to your class. We're not presenting till Monday.
Our class.
Here right now.
I only have one side law prepared.
Because
I forgot.
that is unfair. Hold us to a different standard.
Hey Ward, if we have time, Emily wants to give her speech to us. She can practice.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Watch. If you're gonna complain, he's gonna postpone that session until Monday.
I
don't think so.
I didn't study.
Neither did I.
Oh, okay.
I got red tea.
Ward, I'm sorry.
No.
Oh man.
You just get points for
But my class is very small.
It's not
How many people in your class?
Like, it was a private class. Or the read and just for
We had like 15
But I know it.
Hold on.
Is Vermont here today?